When I watch you do some of the things you do, I feel like I'm watching someone paint or make music. I go to the races to watch you make art. And it's beautiful and inspiring.
There is no movie I think about more, no movie I've repeatedly watched more than the 2008 critical and commercial failure simply known as Speed Racing. I'm of the opinion that this is a fantastic movie. No, this might not be a video for cinephiles that need their film degree ego stroked. They can keep sucking on Nolan, Kubrick or Scorsese for all I care. Sure, on the outset this may look like an oversaturated monstrosity that more resembles Spy Kids than it does The Matrix, the previous films the Wachowskis directed, but I will die on the sword for this movie. I think its commitment to formalism over realism, its commitment to sincerity first and foremost, is not only what makes this movie great, but is also the antidote to superhero movies as of late. Now there's a word for that, a word to distill down everything I just said. Verisimilitude. Essentially a movie's truth. What reality is it trying to create? On the spectrum of realism and formalism, where does it sit? And does it stay consistent to the rules that the movie establishes? Does it stay true to its tone? Does it break its verisimilitude? Speed Racer might just be the most formalist movie ever made, but it's consistent in the filmmaking, in the tone, in the characters. You believe in this world because it's consistent to its truth. Everything is an expression of the characters, how they see the world, and that comes down to the filmmaking as well. As our characters whip around an impossible turn, so too does the camera in an equally impossible move. Nothing about this movie is realistic, but an even better statement to pose is it trying to be? Why would a movie about a guy called Speed with a family with a monkey, fighting gangsters and corporate giants through racing be served any better by being more realistic? Wouldn't it make sense that the filmmaking is equally as bombastic as the subject matter? That they instead leaned into the anime it was derived from, to use speed lines, colour and the such as agents to tell a more tonally consistent story. When we're first introduced to this world, we're hit with a kid with clear ADHD for starters. However, after that we're hit with a cacophony of colour that sure, looks ridiculous, but the movie makes no apologies for that. Heck, even the opening logos get you set for what kind of movie we're in for. We're clearly in a heightened reality, a reality in which a family fueled on PB&J sandwiches can make a car in less than 32 hours, a reality in which trucks have rocket launchers hanging out of them, a reality in which cars can drive up a cliff face. This movie is out there. If this happened in any other Marvel movie, we'd be taken back, pulled out of the movie. But here, we believe it. We're invested. Why? Well, that comes down to the verisimilitude. It never breaks its logic. It's equally over the top across the board. This is the reality the movie establishes. The transitions are over the top. The impossible depth of field doesn't reflect anything achievable with an actual lens. The colour is impossibly saturated. The perspective equally warped. This is all to illustrate that this is not our world. It's over the top and revels in it. Formalist movies have been made before. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, equally giving us crazy transitions, reality-defying physics, and obscure sequences. But this is just next level. An amazing question is, why? Well, when we want something to be realistic, we are aiming to achieve a level of events in, roughly, an objective way. But with formalism, on the other hand, the style, how the world looks and feels is an expression solely of our character's subjective worldview. In English, this is how Speed sees the world. It's the reason most of our movie is shot in close-ups or in a warped view of reality, not just to emulate anime techniques, but to punch in on how our characters, how Speed sees the world. What matters is their subjective experience, not the objective reality. Racing to myself and to many others is a mundane sport. It's pieces of metal on wheels going around in circles time and time again. But that's not how the racer family views it. To them, it's their religion.
It's like a religion.
They view racing with a visceral sense of energy, a sense of colour and passion. Now, it only makes sense that the filmmaking also reflects that same energy, colour, and passion. To me, this comes to a head during the film's climax. After Speed has dispensed with the villain of the movie, we witness a follow-up lap of pure surrealist self-expression. I think part of the beauty in that self-expression and why it works is because of the Wachowskis' adherence to spatial continuity. During any of the races, we're never lost. For a movie with flipping cars and impossible camera moves, the directing duo accustom you to the track before going all out. Multiple times do they pull back to show you what is to come. Here's a loop coming up, here's a tunnel where the trio make their move, here's the spiral track that'll be featured later on. This sense of spatial understanding means no matter how crazy the action gets, we always understand where our characters are in space. Interestingly enough, it also has the opposite effect when we surprise Speed. Now, this scene might be one of my favourite scenes in the movie. It's emotionally loaded to start with. Here's why. For the Racer family and for Speed, this is where he lost his brother. A race his family didn't even want him entering.
I'm sorry, Inspector, but I've already lost one son to that death trap. I won't lose another.
Now, his brother, still alive and incognito as Racer X, knows this is affecting him.
Are you alright?
I'm fine.
The scene then preempts you with the layout of the cave. That's the spatial awareness the Wachowskis want you to understand. They want you focused on the tunnel, the place where Speed lost his brother, a place they're approaching, a place that's clearly affecting him, but as they make their move, things go wrong, leaving us with a scene that just takes our breath away. The Wachowskis used their command over space, got you so focused on that tunnel, on that cave, on Speed's context, and that's why the shock of the drop hits just as hard for us as it does for Speed. It's a misdirect, showing us the true danger in the scene. It's Wachowskis flexing their filmmaking muscles. People want to rag on this movie for its filmmaking, but my god do they know how to build a scene, to create suspense, anticipation, to build the energy of a sequence. This is done again when Speed ignites his engine, drifting into his second lap. Everything he's learned, the lessons, the challenges, the trials and tribulations come to head.
He's back in it!
The sequence layers every point the movie has tried to make here, from every character. But what ultimately rings true for Speed is his love for racing, his love for his family, and that's the symphony of this sequence. That's the beauty we get to see. It's his declaration for his love of racing, the art of it.
I go to the races to watch you make art. And it's beautiful and inspiring and everything that art should be.
Now, this movie could have been bogged down in the politics of racing, the business of it all, the gangsters and backdoor dealings, essentially the plot. But Speed reminds us what this movie is really about, what this story really is. It's about racing, and it's about family.
I'm not doing this to help the CIB. I don't know anything about corporate crimes, and honestly, if I did, it wouldn't really matter. I'm doing this because someone's trying to hurt my family, and I'm gonna do everything I can to hurt him back.
It then only makes sense that we have such clearly evil antagonists to oppose Speed in a movie, as we've discussed, isn't trying to be subtle by any means. Call it one-dimensional, but I love that Roger Allam is eating up every scene as Royalton, clear in how evil he is from the get-go.
You ready to put away your toys and grow up? Are you ready to make more money in 1 year than your father made in his whole life? Are you ready to become a real race car driver? Then sign that contract!
That's a shady dude. The dialogue is sharp, to the point, but what I want to highlight is the rhythm of it. There's a level of this that almost feels like music.
You're gonna go to Fuji, and you're gonna try and prove that everything I just told you is nothing but a lie. But no matter how well you drive, you won't win, you won't place. I guarantee you right now, you won't even finish the race.
The rhyming, the layering of broadcasters, the sound design of the cars, paired with Giacchino's score makes this an auditory delight. Seriously, you could close your eyes and know exactly where you are in the movie at any given moment. What the movie is focusing on, what character is taking center stage. A scene with the monkey? Well, you might get a bit of drums. A scene with Trixie might be a little lighter.
So you like this?
Yeah.
Even heavier moments equally go all out with choir-like tones coming in. This is my favorite Giacchino score, up there with Up, Star Trek, The Batman, and Ratatouille. Speed Racer wasn't well received at the time. It bombed. Really hard. And to be fair, that's going to happen when you're sandwiched between Iron Man the week before and Indiana Jones the week after. That being said, where am I going with this? What's my point? Well, I think if Speed Racer came out now, it'd do a hell of a lot better. I think now more than ever, we're looking for directors that have their own voice. And it's not like there's a shortage of that either. 2023 gave us a host of movies with directors with their own unique voice. Sure, I've said what I've said about Snyder before, but at least he has his own style, his own voice. The same could be said for Gareth Edwards, Emerald Fennell, or Greta Gerwig. Each of them have a strong voice and illustrate that voice in the filmmaking, in the story. They want to make a point, talk about a theme, or say something about the world beyond getting our heroes from A to B. The director's telling sincere stories, and I think a case example of what we need from cinema can be found with Speed Racer. It's a movie that has balls, is sincere through and through, that doesn't flinch or turn to the camera and acknowledge how silly this all is. They live in this reality. They say cheesy things and believe in them wholeheartedly.
It doesn't matter if racing never changes. What matters is if we let racing change us.
Like this line, shouldn't work, but it does. Fuck it. He believes it, so I do too. None of this should work. Matthew Fox is pretty much just doing his best Batman impression.
Thank you. You saved my life.
I didn't save anything worth saving unless you get smart real fast. You thought you could take on the cartel? You can't. Not without help.
Okay, Batman. The family's pet is a fucking monkey. The movie is pretty much if Beyblades and Hot Wheels had a love child. And I fucking love it. Speed Racer is my Roman Empire. I think about this movie all the time. It's a symphony of expression, a feast for the eyes and for the soul. Coming out of a rewatch of this movie and you'll want to tackle the world. And that's what great art should do. Lift you up. Inspire you.
I go to the races to watch you make art. And it's beautiful and inspiring and everything that art should be.
Alright guys, that's the video. I just want to say thanks for watching, thanks for making it this far. Also, Happy New Year. I hope you guys had an amazing Christmas. I have a very big video planned for February, potentially March. X-Men. With that being said, I have to thank the people that keep this channel running. People like Daniel, Christos, Greenspark, David, Draco, Alexis, Lance, Holland, Carson, Braden, Michael, Ziggy, Unlucky Dreamer, Julian, Emrin, and Shauna Darch. You guys are the ones that allow me to keep doing this. You're my Illuminati, you guys are my guys. I appreciate you so damn much. For those a part of that circle, I want to do a Google Hangout with you guys, so reach out on the Patreon and we can get that sorted. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Ciao.